Welcome to the PDX files. Each week we dive into the weird and the unexplained here in the Pacific Northwest and beyond. My name is Peej.
And I'm Mac.
Mac, what are we talking about tonight?
I think we got to get into the idea of that I forgot that what we're talking about here on this first one. Egyptian mysteries is what we're getting into of ancient aliens.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of stuff even recently that we've been talking about. Recently, I say maybe months ago, but we're talking about some of the underground action going on under the Egyptian pyramids. Let's just say that's pretty an active area and something that we should probably look at.
Yeah, I remember, I think that we had an episode where it looked like they were like power cells or something that was buried.
Right.
Yeah.
There's energy cells beneath the pyramids, and they were using these ground radar things and, sort of above ground stuff sort of prove that. Hasn't been proved, not necessarily yet, but it's still exciting.
All right. Well, I've not seen this video, so my responses will be authentic. Here we go.
Giza Plateau, Egypt. The Great Pyramid is arguably the most enigmatic structure on the face of the Earth. It is the only surviving wonder of the ancient world.
Oh.
And has inspired endless speculation as to how it was built and what purpose it served.
Ever since the first studies of the Great Pyramid in Egypt have been made, researchers have been amazed at the mathematical knowledge that is encoded into the Great Pyramid, the measurements that are used in it. Even the placement of the Great Pyramid has aroused great interest among Egyptologists.
The Great Pyramid is aligned to within 3/60th of a degree of north, a more accurate alignment than any other structure on Earth.
When you look at the Great Pyramid's alignment, it's aligned very, very close to true north. Even more interesting is to think about tracking back in time, because the Earth's axis has been shifting slowly. It's what we call precesses. And so if there's been a shift in that alignment, it could be that it was even more accurately aligned to north in the past when they built it.
The Great Pyramid is not only perfectly aligned to the cardinal points, its placement on the Earth is seemingly intentional as well.
If you pass the Great Circle from the Great Pyramid through its cardinal and its ordinal directions, what you find is that these circles will pass through more landmass of the Earth than any other location on the Earth. You find that the Great Pyramid is essentially located at the center of the world's landmass.
Oh, how? It's a basketball.
Since the first accurate survey of the Great Pyramid in 1925, mathematicians and researchers have discovered even more profound connections relating to geodetic information, or information pertaining to the measurement and representation of the Earth encoded in its design.
The Great Pyramid was built with a level of technological sophistication far in excess of anything that we have today. They don't use the inch as we normally have it in the English system. It's the cubit. And what's interesting about this cubit is that it is exactly 1/25 millionth of the polar diameter of the Earth, meaning the distance from the North Pole to the South Pole of the Earth. Chop it up into 25 million pieces. There's your cubit. It's perfect.
What?
Is that if you actually take the length of the Great Pyramid at its mean socket level, which is the corners of the actual building, it translates into 365.24 pyramid cubits, which just happens to be the earthly year right down to a quarter day.
The measurements of the length and width of the perimeter of the Great Pyramid correspond to an exact fraction of both the latitude and longitude measurements at the equator. Scaled up, this means the Great Pyramid directly corresponds to the circumference of the equator, as well as the measurement from the equator to the pole, making it a scale model of the Northern Hemisphere.
That's nuts. I know, right?
Recently, using satellite technology, researchers have realized yet another advanced formula encoded in the design.
If you take the location of the Great Pyramid as a coordinate, this number sequence of this coordinate matches exactly the speed of light traveling through space, measured in meters per second. This is amazing stuff. When you consider the vast amount of information about the Earth that's encoded into the Great Pyramid, you can't just dismiss all of this as pure coincidence.
Or that haircut. But I mean, it is. It's been known for a long time, even before internet, that the mathematical, just advancements that they had at that time were pretty goddamn crazy. Like there was a lot of things that were even discussed. I remember even back in the old days, like, hey, this is uh, astronomy, and it's really interesting how how did they get the knowledge? I don't know. It could just be human engineering, human ingenuity. I don't know about that. It seems like
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, it's above human. I mean, we're talking about this was back in 2560 BC, and especially that the whole premise about the use of the cubit as a measurement, and how at least this video is stating that if you that's basically the cube, that's the measurement that in equal parts that measures the diameter. Is it diameter of the planet? That's crazy. I mean, how did they achieve that crazy accuracy? You know?
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it we can point to today is like, oh yeah, I mean, you just do the math and you can sort of figure it out. But I mean, they didn't have the math yet at those
Yeah.
at that time. So um, it's pretty impressive, and more so, it's like it's not like it was like, well, it was within like 30,000 or 40,000, miles or whatever. But it was like really close to within like a quarter mile. I think it was what it was saying of some of the things like back in those days. So obviously, there's like the variance, this the Earth's going around the sun, but um, it's amazing. And if it's true that it was all just humans doing it, more power to us. I mean, we obviously got some shit to be proud of, right? But
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
and so I'm totally willing to accept that as well, because I think we all have some of us are smarter than others, but I think like I definitely couldn't come up with that. I don't have that kind of mindset. So to me, it's like unbelievable that without the background and the understanding to understand it, sort of like make that happen in your mind. It's like, oh my god, yeah, this is exactly what it would not happen for me. I'm just an idiot that can possibly understand some of those things, I guess.
Math was developed in Mesopotamia and Egypt around 3000 BC. So it would have been around for about 400 years before they started building the pyramids. But
But you just look at the pyramids and how like perfect they are. It's
I
like
know
amazing, right?
it's no, yeah, it goes beyond what I feel like they would have been playing around with math wise at that time. And to your point, I mean, it's making me. I mean, it's definitely very doubtful. I don't know. Yes, the Egyptians at that time could have been the most advanced civilization in the world, even by today's standards, right? And but I don't know. It's hard to fathom that they were not assisted somehow by something outside of
Previous knowledge, even
outside of
something
this.
before that. Yeah, even if it wasn't like, thousands of years before, but something that was given to them, it could be, according to Vegeta. It's certainly possible, but I think that, we all have to sort of accept that it makes sense in a lot of ways, the ancient astronaut theory.
Yeah,
I don't like to give credit to that guy because he looks ridiculous, but I do understand the whole thought process behind it. I think a lot of people can sort of relate to that as well. It's like, okay, well, we're at the very beginning of some of the stuff, and then we give, and even more recently, like just some of the technology that we have now, and the way that we're accelerating so quickly. There's no algorithm for that right now.
no.
Like it doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway.
All right, well, we'll continue here.
the Valley of the Kings, Egypt. The Taj Mahal, Agra, India. And King Pakal's tomb, Palenque, Mexico. Spectacular burial sites that date back thousands of years are found across the world. According to mainstream researchers, these locations are the final resting places for ancient leaders. But might they also serve a more profound, perhaps extraterrestrial purpose?
Why do we have the most massive of constructions in the far and distant past? Well, and according to the ancient texts and the ancient traditions, this knowledge was given to our ancestors by the gods.
If the sole function of tombs was to house the dead, then why are virtually all of these connected to notions of spiritual energy, images of astronomy, and a strong belief in the existence of other, arguably more spiritual worlds?
All cultures share this notion of somehow opening a doorway, opening a stargate, opening a gateway to another dimension so the soul can return. We know that it is meant because the soul is going to go on a voyage to the afterlife.
In the ancient world, there was a view that this life that we have, this physical life, is our opportunity to prepare ourselves for a vast destiny that lies beyond this life.
Could ancient tombs really have served another, more extraterrestrial purpose? Perhaps as portals to reunite the deceased with celestial beings. Many ancient astronaut theorists believe the answers can be found by taking a closer look at the mysterious texts of ancient Egypt. Saqqara. Situated on the west bank of the Nile River, 20 miles south of Cairo, this archaeological site is one of the oldest and largest burial grounds in all of Egypt.
Like Minecraft.
Right.
Overlooking the immense necropolis lies the pyramid of King Teti, the first ruler of Egypt's 6th dynasty. Teti built his pyramid and an adjoining mortuary temple during his reign more than 4,000 years ago.
Now, this pyramid is very important. It contains the oldest religious writing in the world, the pyramid texts.
According to archaeologists, the pyramid texts are a collection of ancient Egyptian religious writings that date back to 2400 BC. They contain passages about Osiris, the Egyptian god of the afterlife, and descriptions of how to prepare the pharaoh's remains during his ascent to the heavens after death. But according to ancient astronaut theorists, the pyramid texts didn't only guide the pharaoh to an afterlife, they actually provided instruction on how the pharaoh could travel to other worlds.
What is important to realize is that the ancient Egyptians say that about 25,000 years ago, the gods lived amongst them. Then they disappeared again. What the pyramid texts are saying is that we, the ancient Egyptians specifically, of course, are able to reach the gods again. For this we have to die, but once we're dead, we're able to join the gods once again. What we're talking about is some kind of other dimensional travel for the soul to undertake.
It looks like you him like some sort of CPR there, right there. Like, come on, live, you bastard. No, I mean, I think there's certainly lots to look at, especially in sort of deciphering the language, and even go back to sort of cave drawings of even before then that hadn't been really deciphered, and look at what they're doing now. In this particular era, which was thousands and thousands of years ago. I mean, maybe that's just how it works. It's like you're just able to sort of, interpret things and have amazing artistic skills. And not these concepts seem very like very scripted in a lot of ways with the Egyptians.
Very scripted.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and so they're being told kind of what to do
Oh,
a little bit. It's like they're not just like doing like cave drawings. Like
right.
they've graduated beyond that, obviously, and they have their own language, but it's like they're doing a lot of weird stuff that looks like today's even that image right there that we're looking at. It looks like it is some sort of resurrection ceremony almost. I mean,
Right.
it's very very interesting, kind of how you look at some of these things, and the uh, amazing like accuracy of some of the art as well. It's like I don't think that humans just got there. Maybe it is. Maybe there's something to do with like we're just hunter gatherers, and we don't have enough information to like process in our tiny brains that we can just do certain things. But it's the continual. And if you look at it, the human race has only been around for several thousand years. But there's other theories that say we go back tens of thousands of years. So anyway, and that's a whole other episode. But it's very interesting what the Egyptians were able to do.
Absolutely. I mean, so a couple of things here. There's definitely some similarities to, the afterlife stories from other faiths, right? Or from
Right.
faiths, rather. I
Right.
should not say
And
that.
this was once like some of the original, right? Yeah. No.
I mean, because so I'm just doing a little bit of a quick, um, doing quick Google searches here. So Judaism has been around for 3,500 years. So 3,500 years ago,
It's
right?
probably the oldest, right?
I think it might be the oldest.
Yeah.
But obviously, this whole preparing the dead or preparing the soul for travel, it's almost like the concept of going to heaven, right? Joining with the other quote unquote celestial beings, and those could be, other departed loved ones and or the gods, as they're saying in this video, or at least in the belief of the ancient Egyptians.
Yeah, so that leads me actually, I think maybe even the Mesopotamians, the Anunnaki might even be a little bit older than the
True
Judaism,
that.
but you look at it and there's so many common themes
Yeah,
that okay, could it just be human beings just like telling oral oral stories across I don't think so. I think there's like certain events that have happened that has shaped our history, and certainly on an early level, a lot of similarities. Again, you look at the even not necessarily here, but the whole flood theory, which we'll look into at some other point. But there's a lot of similarities across the entire world of a lot of similar things that they're kind of sort of intimating out here as like being like the ancient alien type theory.
sure. But to your point from earlier, if comparing this to the Bible, for instance, and phrases in the Bible of the creation story and destruction and afterlife and whatnot. To your point, like these were what the hieroglyphs appear to state by those who interpreted it is that these are instructions. These are like specific space instructions for travel to other dimensions or to outer space, right? Its
Yep.
concept of it is seems very unlikely from 4,000 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
definitely interesting.
there's just there's no point of reference for those people, right? And unless they have something else that they've been shown.
At that time, exactly. All right, we'll continue here.
The Nile Delta, Egypt. A small centimeters wide trail is cut in the desert floor by the rolling cocoon of a dung beetle.
What the hell?
This strange-looking 2-inch long insect, also called a scarab, uses the dung as the source of nourishment and a place for storing its eggs. It will roll the ball in a straight line despite all obstacles, and is the only insect on Earth known to navigate by following the light.
It looks like a lovely truffle.
Galaxy. Biologists just made this discovery in 2013. But 5,000 years ago, with presumably no knowledge of its unique connection to the stars, the ancient Egyptians held the scarab as a sacred symbol, representing a link to the gods.
Interesting that a great civilization could pay so much attention to a little bug. But it appears constantly throughout Egyptian temples and hieroglyphics. It's a very frequent image.
That's true.
At the Temple of Karnak, overlooking the sacred lake, where the pharaohs received their coronation, a giant scarab beetle stands watch, representing the Egyptian god Khepri.
The Egyptians saw the sun moving across the sky during the day. Also around the desert sands, you'd see beetles moving balls of dung. And so the Egyptians thought that the force that moved the sun across the sky was a giant scarab beetle god, Khepri.
And they believed
Okay.
the sun was what is known as the Eye of Ra, which was Ra's chariot, or his flying machine. And the thing that moved it, they believed, was the scarab-headed god, Khepri. And the scarab represented Khepri, the pilot, if you like, of Ra's sun ship or barge. He was basically a pilot to the gods.
But could there be another explanation for why the Egyptians regarded Khepri as a pilot?
There better be, because I don't understand any of that so far.
Astronaut theorists suggest that the representation of Khepri as a scarab, and sometimes as a human with a scarab head, may have been inspired by actual contact the Egyptians had with an otherworldly being.
It was just like rolling up shit to smoke. I mean, I don't...
Whether or not these beings actually existed, because the ancient Egyptians were incredibly proud in carving their history into countless of walls. And according to the ancient astronaut theory, we all came about through a deliberate mutation of our genes. And so it is entirely possible, in my opinion, that some of those creatures that we see depicted in reliefs and in carvings might have actually existed in the past.
Is it possible the ancient Egyptians could have encountered alien beings that had an insect-like appearance? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes. And as further evidence, point to the fact that the Egyptians' obsession with the scarab also extended to their funerary rituals.
I mean, clearly it had an effect on the peoples back in those days. I don't understand how anybody now or then would have like regarded the scarab as rolling up a bunch of shit as being a god. But I mean, maybe it is, and maybe that's the whole thing of it. It's like, oh, that's amazing. Look at that. Look at that guy. He's rolling up a bunch of shit. You know, he's like, they had something to do with like agriculture or something. But I can't imagine that being something that I would look up to. Is like, oh, yeah, that alien is, yum.
The way I understood it was that they observed the dung beetle doing what it was doing. It was following the path of the sun. And so that's where they like, okay, so
no, I get all that, but I mean, like, what is the point of that exactly?
Well, I think they were saying that, you know, that the ancient aliens theorists theorized that that the ancient Egyptians may have got in contact with, you know, beings that have heads that look like the dung beetle, and I think that's where they made the correlation, right? And it could have been a helmet, if it was ancient aliens that just had helmets that looked like the dung beetles, I don't know. There's like, again, if you're thinking simplistically and you don't have the sophistication to think beyond kind of like trying to interpret literal things to mythical. I don't know. It could be just a simple thinking.
I'm just saying it's like as I'm trying to put myself into a mindset of the people of those days. Like there's this like, beetle like roll up a bunch of shit. It's like I should definitely follow this guy.
I think you're getting too obsessed with the rolling shit. So
that's what they were saying that this thing was like known for. It's like I don't think I'm gonna follow that god. I'm gonna follow a different god. Definitely, I want to follow Anubis or whatever the the snake gods are around there. I'm not going to do any of that other stuff. I'm not going to follow the shit god.
Well, there's definitely some similarities with the story of the Anunnaki here, right? You know how there were creatures that were not human, and that those genes may have been incorporated into our own. So
I just feel like they're at the kind of the bottom of the whole God scale, I guess. If you're rolling a bunch of shit.
All right,
ouch.
let's move on. Let's move on from the shit.
Abydos, Egypt, 7 miles west of the Nile. Within this expansive archaeological site lies the ruins of the Osiris Hall, where thousands would gather to worship the god of the underworld.
In comparison to many of the gods, Osiris was actually thought to have lived physically on Earth as one of Egypt's pharaohs. He is often depicted with a winged disk of the sun. And while many scholars have suggested that it is nothing else but to worship the sun, that sun, as far as the Egyptians were concerned, also had wings, and it descended from the sky. So in my opinion, something else was depicted, an extraterrestrial event that in fact took place in real life.
Although most ancient astronaut theorists believe that the Egyptian gods were, in reality, extraterrestrial visitors, there are many who wonder if Osiris was even made of flesh and blood.
One of the most famous stories that go hand in hand with Osiris was that he was dismembered by his jealous brother Seth.
Seth went into a fury and tore his brother's dead body to shreds, tore it into 14 pieces. But Isis, the loyal wife, searched far and wide and found the pieces and pulled it together.
Isis succeeded in resurrecting him. Now, when I hear a story like that a being is dismembered and then somebody puts together those pieces and then they're able to magically resurrect him, I have to ask the question, is it possible that Osiris was not some type of biological entity, but perhaps he was some type of a
Mighty Morphin Power Ranger? I don't follow his.
That's a stretch.
The strongest evidence that Osiris may have been a robot can be found in the ancient pyramid texts, which describe the symbol of the Djed pillar as Osiris's spine.
Osiris in his resurrected form was portrayed as a pillar that clearly resembles a modern-day Tesla coil. The Djed pillar is considered a power pillar.
In this one carving at Abydos, it is as if Isis has her hand inserted into Osiris's back. And so perhaps it
giving him a
illustrates
massage.
how she was manipulating Osiris. Could it be that the story of Osiris is something completely different than what we have thought?
Is it possible that our ancestors encountered highly sophisticated extraterrestrial robots in the ancient past? And if so, might there be some tangible evidence? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes.
I mean, looking at that, it looks more like a cyborg type thing anyway, and closer to the Terminator. Let's say, hey, he's back again.
That last part was definitely felt like a stretch.
Yeah, that was like, what the hell are you talking about? Some of the other stuff actually kind of made some sense. It's like if you look at like the perception of the people who were there at the time, I
Yeah.
can see that and buy into it. But the other stuff is just like, no.
Well, I mean, because obviously, I mean, there's a few problems here, right? Who knows if whoever has been tasked with, and there's been a ton of people, obviously, with interpreting the hieroglyphs are correct. We've all seen it. We've all seen. I mean, there was that famous scene in the movie Stargate where, there was a bunch. There was somebody who interpreted the text, and then here comes what's his name? What's that actor's name? I keep forgetting is that actor's name. To say, and he said, "No, you've interpreted it wrong. This actually means Stargate or whatever it is, right?"
His first name James.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
so who knows if the interpretations are correct? And then, of course, when you're talking about the images only, so not the hieroglyphs, but just the carvings, the paintings of humans or godlike creatures and whatnot. Who knows if they're interpreting that correctly? I mean, this last bit where the narrator was saying it seems like Isis's hand is inside Osiris, but I could clearly see in the video, and for folks listening, please do watch the video. Isis's hand is on the other shoulder, so I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't.
It looked like a nice massage to me. It didn't quite look like that.
Yeah.
What they were trying to describe. Yeah, but I still think that, at least in my opinion, I do believe that aliens have been around for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, and sort of scripting our the way we do things. Not necessarily a way that Vegeta suggests, and necessarily, I think it's been going on for a much longer time period. But I mean, it's still we're open to interpretation.
If you if you enjoy this content, please give it a like and share it across your socials to help get the word out about our show. If you hadn't already done so, please subscribe, and on YouTube, hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on future episodes. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.